denying their involvement with Epstein, but the butler always knows what's going on, and the butler has decided to speak out. So the news here in Europe that has been breaking is that the butler has claimed that Epstein entertained Bill and Melinda Gates, Steve Bannon, and Prince Andrew at his Paris apartment. This butler worked for 18 years at the $8 million apartment in Paris and got to find out all kinds of things about Epstein's famous friends. The butler's name is Gabriel, and he interacted with Prince Andrew, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, and Steve Bannon when they were all guests at Epstein's Parisian residence. Bannon is saying that it never happened. Deny. I only flew 4 times. But really it was nearly 30. Despite Gabriel claiming that he drove Bannon around the city just last fall, after the first conviction. They all knew. Gabriel said Bill and Melinda Gates had visited, and while a representative of Bill and Melinda Gates is not responding. But in the past, remember the one that I did on MIT and Bill Gates and Epstein? Gates has denied all along any kind of personal relationship. Gabrielle said there were women at the house that Epstein kept separate from other guests. So Paris officials are probing Epstein, and a lot of people have been asking me about Jean-Luc Brunel, why I haven't done a story on the raids on Jean-Luc Brunel. All that we know is that properties linked to Jean-Luc Brunel have been raided in France. And Jean-Luc Brunel disappeared off the face of the earth, and the latest story was that he was in Central or South America, and that the police were hunting him there. And like I've said in all of my other videos, these raids are to prevent evidence from getting out to the public. The elites are using their enforcement arms, the intelligence agencies and the police, to confiscate the evidence so that this case never hears the light of day, so that the elites do not get exposed. So, Gabrielle did an interview with France Info, and this is quoting him now. Oh, at the end I'm going to say a little bit more about the cop who fled to Russia, and the last 2 videos I've done on him went viral, and he has agreed. John Mark Dougan has agreed to be interviewed by Skype. So, I hope to have something up on him by Monday. We will see. I served crowned heads, diplomats, businessmen, and politicians, said Gabrielle, and then cited Bill and Melinda Gates. As well as Prince Andrew, Barak, and Bannon, there were a number of very young, very thin, and very tall girls. Those girls, who he said in recent years looked to be of age but were kept separate from the other guests at all times, according to Gabrielle. So we know that Jean-Luc Brunel was getting underage girls from poor backgrounds. We know that Prince Andrew has said that he didn't know about girls, Epstein and girls, even though we saw him keep him out the door, and now we've got the butler saying there were very young, thin, tall girls at the residence. So Gabriel revealed that members of his former boss's trust had called just 2 days before an investigation into Epstein was announced in Paris, asking him to perform some tasks at the apartment, like shredding black books. Gabriel did not say how long these guests stayed and if it was always overnight or they just came by for a meal. So this is the first time there has been any mention of Bill and Melinda Gates at Epstein properties. But the other three men have all been to see Epstein at his Manhattan townhouse, we know for sure. Gabriel specifically remembers Bannon saying his visit came last fall and noting, "I was even his driver in Paris." And Bannon's denying it. It never happened. Flight records reveal that Gates flew with Epstein from Teterboro Airport in New Jersey to Palm Beach on March 1st, 2013. One of the few flights that year where pilot Larry Vysotsky recorded the name of the passenger. So, the foundation, the Gates Foundation, does wonderful work for young women around the world. That's all that they're commenting now. It seems that every elite has a charity, and the deviant ones, like Jimmy Savile, are doing the most charity work, and they use that to cloud people's judgment. They're doing these horrific things while also doing these benevolent acts to manipulate the public. It's really sick. Gabriel also spoke about the other company kept by his boss. As Epstein was very fond of massages, they were hired for it. But I do not think that the women were then paid for sex. Of course he's going to have to say that. He also said Epstein was seeing women less and getting fewer massages in recent years. That's because it was all caving back in. When I started working for him, he was getting a massage at least twice a day, sometimes 3 or 4 times. He noted that his boss's habit was an expensive one. And Epstein is on the record, victims are on the record, saying that Epstein needed to have 3 orgasms a day at the hand of underage girls. Here we go, we've got this information, the frequency, 3, 4 a day, being confirmed by the butler. Epstein and Bill Gates had spent time together previously, most notably at the annual Ed Dinner, which each year welcomes billionaires from around the world to come together and discuss advancements they are working on in the worlds of math, science and technology. And at these events, the PAs get the whole list of who they're going to be meeting, who the other billionaires are, so he knew in advance that Epstein was going to be there. In fact, the 2013 dinner took place just 2 nights before they flew to Florida, though neither of the men are pictured attending that year's event. Epstein claimed he worked as a financial advisor to Gates, but that claim was shot down by Gates. But we know from the MIT video and all the shenanigans that's gone on there that they were close and that financial transactions were going on and that Epstein was giving Gates money to MIT. The 2 men own property in southern Florida. Epstein had 2 homes, including his $12 million Palm Beach mansion, and Gates owns a 5-property compound in Wellington, purchased for $40 million. So with the cop who fled to Russia, this is the area he was working, Palm Beach, and this is how he came privy to this information. So I'm really excited about interviewing him. In a biography that was published on the website for Edge, but later deleted, it is noted that Epstein founded the Jeffrey Epstein the Sixth Foundation in 2000 to fund and support cutting-edge science around the world. He's also said to be one of the largest supporters of individual scientists, including theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking and Nobel laureates Gerard T. Hooft, David Gross and Frank Wolzek. So Epstein fancied himself as a hobnobber, the most famous scientists in the world, and he would dole out his money and throw events for them and take selfies with them. In an alarming addition, the biography then states that Epstein had taken an active role in supporting education across the US, as well as philanthropy in the US Virgin Islands, where the foundation is based. Again, the veil of philanthropy. Rip away that facade and you've got devious, international, sex slave, child trafficking, paedophile. He travelled to the 2002 dinner with guests including architect David Rockwell, author Michael Wolff, journalist Richard Cook, literary agent John Brockman, who was also the editor of the Edge website. Gates was not the only famous name to hop aboard Epstein's plane, with the serial paedophile welcoming Walter Cronkite, architect Peter Marino, and a passenger identified as John Roberts. So there you go. No matter how much the authorities do raids to suppress this information, this was so widespread over so many continents, so many people affected. People are gonna keep coming out, naming things, citing things, contradicting the elites. One of the interesting things about the cop that fled to Russia is that he was assigned as a deputy to protect a drug gang, to stay there and watch that rival drug gangs did not come and take them out. And one of my biggest things is I write about the war on drugs and how that has corrupted every level of government right up to the White House, hence the weapons for cocaine, Contra, CIA-sponsored smuggling business that Gary Webb exposed. So, thanks for watching these videos. Going to keep them coming with all your support. Thank you to everyone who's subscribed. Fox down there.